Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego with the beautiful Karina, my lovely prometida. And we're waiting for our NOA 2 letter while our visa sits on the shelf somewhere at the service center in California. Our NOA 1 letter is dated April 18th, 2022. And I live in the panhandle of Florida near Pensacola, just north of Navarre Beach. And Karina lives in Bogota, Colombia. And she is a legal resident of Colombia, but originally she is from Caracas, Venezuela. And this video is about processing times and embassy information for the U.S. Embassy and our good friends in the Philippines. So come on along so I can help you along with this visa process. Now the address to the U.S. Embassy in the beautiful Philippines is right here. And that's their address. This is the phone number right here. And this is their email address right here. Okay, now remember this, guys, that the U.S. Embassy in Manila requires a Philippine police certificate known as an NBI, or a National Bureau of Investigation clearance. It is that for you, Mr. Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary. And even though the NBI is good for 1 year, the U.S. State Department put out a directive saying that police certificates are good for 2 years. So I would go with the 1 year to be safe, but the State Department says 2 years. And you should get a record clearance for travel purposes also from the National Bureau of Investigation, otherwise known as the NBI. And you may request your NBI directly for clearance to the U.S. Embassy at this website right here. Very simple, guys. Now, if you've scheduled your visa interview at the embassy in Manila and you have to reschedule it, and then you have to reschedule it, you just can't pinpoint a day because of your busy lifestyle. Remember this, beneficiaries, you are only allowed to reschedule your interview 4 times. You get 4 chances, not including the initial one, without a penalty. If you go past 4 times, then the U.S. Embassy will penalize you and make you wait for 3 months before you can schedule the next interview. So make sure you plan accordingly to avoid problems securing an interview appointment, okay? And if you are single, 18 years or older, a certificate of no marriage is required, otherwise known as a CENOMAR from the Philippine Statistics Authority, the PSA, and it's good for 1 year from the date it was obtained. And the U.S. Embassy in Manila requires a CENOMAR for applicants whose unmarried status is important, okay, for their visa category. K1, you got to be single, right? Or divorced, widow, etc. You got to prove it. So to our good friends in the Philippines, if you wish to request through the PSA your CENOMAR directly to the U.S. Embassy, they recommend you do this. You can go to this website right here. Okay, go to this website right here, follow the steps, and you can submit your CENOMAR directly to the U.S. Embassy. And I know it's a stressful time, a stressful process for you guys, going through all these hoops and jumping through all these hoops, but you can do it. I got confidence in you, okay? And make sure you follow the steps for your immigrant visa interview, and you will be just fine. So Mr. Sponsor, Miss Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary, Mr. Beneficiary, you will get a pre-interview checklist from the MVC and from the embassy, either or. And it is important that you bring all of the required documents to your visa interview, okay? And then once you've scheduled your visa interview and you've got all your documents together, then you can schedule your medical exam, okay? As soon as you receive your appointment date for your visa interview, that's when I recommend you schedule your medical exam, okay? And then you can go online. You'll have all this information from a letter, and then you can register your address online. And then when you register your address online, that will tell the embassy where they need to return your passport to after the interview. And registering your address online is absolutely free. Something that doesn't cost anything. Imagine that. So don't forget to bring to your visa interview your valid passport with 6 months or more validity on it for your beyond your intended date into the USA. So if you're going to leave the Philippines in 3 months from now and your passport expires in 6 months from now, then it's only good for 3 months, right? So think about that. You got to make sure, I would say a minimum of a year left on your passport, okay? Bring your original birth certificate and your English translation if it's required, and also your original birth certificates, original, not copies, original birth certificates of all your children coming in to the USA as a K2. And if you are 16 years or older, you're going to need police certificates from your country of residence, current residence in the Philippines, and any other countries that you worked or lived in for 6 months or more. If you want to figure out how to get a hold of police certificates, let's suppose you worked in, Hong Kong, or you worked in Singapore or wherever, okay, if you go to this website right here, right there, okay, that will be that's the website to go to where you can look up and where to find what the process is to get the police certificate, okay? And it's the reciprocity website is what it is. If you've ever served in the Philippine military, you need to provide that information to the U.S. Embassy, and you also need to provide proof of your petitioner's status and domicile in the United States and his citizenship or her citizenship, which would be a photocopy of his passport, her passport, and naturalization certificate. I would include both, okay guys? And then you also need to bring evidence of your relationship between the petitioner, your sponsor, and yourself. Like photographs, letters, emails, whatever you got to prove your relationship is real. And Mr. Beneficiary, if you were previously married and now you have an annulled marriage, I don't think you can get a divorce in the Philippines. You got to bring proof of that. And if your sponsor was previously married, you need certified copies of all divorce decrees finalized, okay, signed by the judge, not the magistrate, the judge. Now, the medical exam, you're going to need a medical exam. And, all applicants, all K1 visa applicants, regardless of how old they are, require a medical exam prior to the issuance of your visa, okay? And it is your responsibility, Mr. Sponsor, Miss Beneficiary, to schedule a medical exam with St. Luke's Medical Center. The extension clinic is where you do it. 2 weeks before your visa interview at the embassy. So you got to do it 2 weeks before, according to the U.S. Embassy request. Now remember, medical exams by your neighborhood doctor will not be allowed, will be disregarded by the embassy. You got to have your medical exam by a civil surgeon, physician, doctor, by a doctor approved by the U.S. Embassy, and the approved physician by the U.S. Embassy in Manila, and at the St. Luke's Medical Center Extension Clinic. And I'll just put the address right up in here. This is where you go get your medical exam. And then right here, that's the phone number. I'll give you the phone number too to make it easy for you guys. And what you need to bring to your medical exam? You're going to need to bring your visa interview letter, your passport, unexpired. Even though it says 6 months of validity, I would say go for a year to be safe, okay? 3 passport size color photographs taken within the last 30 days. A copy of your immunization records and your DS-160 confirmation page. And the receipt where you paid for the visa fee, the MRF receipt. Okay, now the backlog at the U.S. Embassy in Manila is winding down, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And the average wait time right now, according to the data and the statistics that I've been following, is between 61 and 76 days. It could go longer, it could be sooner, but the average right now is 61 to 76 days. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You will get your K1 visa. Just follow the directions from the immigration folks, and soon you will have your K1 and K2 visa in your passport, flying on an airplane to the good old US of A. And we can't wait for you to get here. And remember also, I do the live stream on Wednesdays at 5 p.m., on Saturdays at 7 p.m., and on Sundays at 11 a.m. Live stream with Diego, K1 Visa questions and answers. See you then.
I'll be back.